Hi y'all, it's Becky Raisler. Excuse me. I had Becky's Journals on Instagram and on YouTube, and today I'm going to show you what I got sidetracked working on this week. And I have to tell you, I am having so much fun, and I hope you try this because it is a scrap buster. It is a way to get rid of all your fabric and lace and crocheted scraps. If you have crocheted doilies that are ragged looking, you can cut them up and use it. It's perfect for this project. But I'm calling these my textile collaged page toppers, pockets, and tuck spots, because that's what I'm going to do with all of these. Basically, you make them just like you would a snippet or a little cluster that you put on the side of the page, but bigger. And all of these will that I'm working on right here, because I'm doing a mass making project. I'm doing them in batches, so the colors are similar. I started out with pulling out all my bags of crocheted pieces. I have bunches of them. Crocheted pieces that I have, and of course I have a big box of lace scraps that I put all my cutoffs, the little pieces in, and I went through this box first and got all the largest pieces out, pulled all the largest pieces out, so you know, just so I would use up all the largest pieces, and I can save the tiniest pieces for collage work. The next thing I did was I grabbed all my scraps and I sorted them by color and size. I grabbed out a selection of scraps and sorted them by general color and size. And you will notice in the scraps that these are heavier weight. This right here is actually a vintage collar that you put on top of a dress. And I just cut it. It was curved, you know, it didn't fit in anywhere in my journal pages, and the weight was too heavy to really use just as it is on a page. It didn't work out right for me anyway. So I grabbed all the ones that were heavier weight, the thicker crocheted pieces, you know, and the bulkier scraps. Here's some of the larger pieces. Here's another collar that I cut up. Here's some strips of crochet. Here's a piece of tablecloth that got cut up. I buy all this stuff. I got all this stuff. It was either sent to me in Happy Mail, or it was purchased at a thrift store, and for next to nothing. And I've got quite the collection of them. Okay, I'm showing you these today on the black paper, even though it shows every speck of dust. But I'm showing these to you with the finished product. Okay. Then I'm going to tell you how I use them. Well, and I'm going to show you how I make them. But I guess I can show you how I use them at the same time I show them to you. I'm showing you two on this black because it stands out better than on the white paper that I have underneath it. But here is a page to show you what this one would look like on a page. I probably would use it as a side. I don't have another paper with me, but I would use it in tuck paper up underneath here and just glue it down on the page on the side like that and make it a side tuck. If I wanted to, I could continue working on this one and make it a page topper. This one is large enough to be a whole page topper, and it could be used on top of the cover of your journal. And if I was going to use it on top of the cover of my journal, I would continue adding some more lace down on this side, like I have up here. I would make it some more lace coming from the back down here to look so it was meant to be out in the center of your book. But that's what I would use it as a book cover topper. But this one is large enough to be a page topper. These are pages that I'm using in my Reader's Digest journals, and they're about 5 inches wide and 7.5 or 8 inches tall. Another one that I did, this one, you see it on the black better first, and then I'll show it to you up close. And this one, I probably would use it at the top of my page like that, and have my ephemera tucked underneath this, going this way. But I also could use it as a page topper and add a solid color background or another layer of lace to the back of it and use it as a whole page topper. Here's one that is fairly simple. And when I made this one, I made it where I could use it 2 different ways, depending on my journal. One is as a corner tuck, where my pages would tuck in right there like that. I can do that one. Or I can go down here and use it at the bottom of my page and have the papers tuck in this way. Or I could take this and continue adding stuff to the back to build it up to be a full page topper. So I have options, and these are going to be my ready-made things. Now this one was made with one of my larger hand crocheted pieces, and these are true vintage textiles that I have here. These are all, this is handmade crochet, and this right here is something that I bought. But a lot of this is vintage, like these leaves right here are true vintage, authentic vintage textiles. This one is going to be a pocket. It just had to be, and I'll show it to you against that background. Okay, and here's this one. This one has touches of green in it, and the neutral. A little bit of bling on it. This one can go at the top. It can go at the center to be a page tuck. It can go over to the side and hang over right here like a tab and be a tuck this way. Or you could put it down the bottom or our top corner, either way, and have it be a corner tuck like that. And that's how it looks by itself. So I'm making these so when I'm working in my journals, one thing, I was just feeling really uninspired for much of anything. I have been having some going on with an insurance company trying to settle an insurance claim, and even though I am a former insurance adjuster myself, I'm having a really hard time dealing with this insurance company. It's making me crazy. But anyway, this one is going to be either on the corner of the page like that as a corner tuck. Can be built up larger with lace going down this way and up the top to be a page topper. Could be put on the side like that, or it could be put at the top as a large corner tuck. And this one is going to be a great big old pocket. Show you what that looks like. And I don't know if I showed you that one. Now, these, I'm just using what I have on hand. I'm not going out and I'm not making any particular theme. If they have any theme, it's birds. A lot of these have a lot of birds, have birds on them, or bird nest, and all of them have flowers, because that's what I like to put on my journaling pages, and I enjoy more of nature, and so I use that. The first thing I do, oh, I wanted to tell you what all of these have in common. They're all a little different, and they're all just can be used in multiple different ways, but they all have a few couple things in common that I wanted you to see if you notice. Oops, that page is wobbling around. I tried doing this on the white paper background and these things with the beige background. They just didn't show up very well. They all have in common that they've got the lace or crocheted, or in this case, the background on this one is a vintage hanky that I glued to a piece of cardstock. That started that one. The hanky was so old and so thin that it was too flimsy to work with, and so I glued it to a piece of cardstock. And if you like, you can start with a piece of cardstock as a backing and then glue your lace and everything onto it. In this case, I wanted as much of the lace and the texture of the lace to show through, so I did not back them. All of them, you know, are just started with the crochet, except for the one with the hanky, but they all have just the fabric textile except for this one. Okay, and normally when I make page toppers, I start with a backing, and that's going to be as large as you're going to use. But in this case, I didn't want them just to be page toppers. I wanted them to be able to use multiple different ways. So they all have that neutral colored lace or crochet textured background, and they all have some kind of focal point in them. A bird nest, bird, butterfly, more birds. So they've got some kind of main focal point, and they all have been made where they're made with a limited color palette. And what I mean by that is that I have a neutral background, and when I did any inking around the edges, and I did ink around the edges of all the cards, but I used this Distress Oxide, which is called frayed burlap, and anytime I put something down, I inked it really lightly with this frayed burlap to cut that hard edge so you wouldn't see it, because if you don't ink the edges, the hard edges will really stand out. Here is the inked edge right there. If I didn't ink it, that would show up as a real hard white looking edge against the lace. So it acts as a sort of a shadow to push the pieces back into the piece, so that it doesn't stand out, so the edges don't stand out. So it's kind of like puts a little edge of a shadow, and I just did it real lightly, so you can't really see, but if I didn't do it, you would really notice it. Okay, so I got out all my bags of scraps, and I went through it, and I pulled out the largest pieces, and I made a big pile of the largest pieces, and then I had medium-sized pieces like this one, and then I put a stack of smaller pieces in strips, and then I started piecing them together. And I think this is what I would do, is I'd take those pieces and then I would start laying something next to it like that, and go, you know, how would this work for me, you know? And if the piece is too big, I could just cut it off, and in this case, I would cut it off right there, and I would glue those two pieces together. I believe that this one is similar. And here's a pile of them that I have gathered together. Here is a fairly large piece, and I said, okay, this is going to be a pocket. And what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to put that and that piece like that, and that'll be my pocket. I'll glue those three pieces together. And then I went a little further and said, okay, because I happened to have all the scraps out there, I said, you know what? I like that like that. So there's my backing for my pocket. So pocket's basically made. And I tried, when I measured these things out, I'll make sure that they're no more than 4.5 inches wide, because that is the size of the pocket. And I don't care when I glue these things together. I don't care if they sticks out over the edges, or, you know, because I can always trim it to where it'll be neater or fit in there right. Okay, and here is another example of putting things together. I decided that I liked that piece of a collar and that rounded piece like that. And that'll be my base for one. Here's another large piece of that tablecloth. And I had a bunch of scraps that were like this. This is a piece of hand crocheted that has been cut up. I think it was from a crocheted tablecloth that was torn and stained up and, you know, got cut up. And so I'm going to extend the pocket taller by adding that up there. Also, I'm making it where these rough edges won't be so noticeable. I'll trim the top piece to fit, you know, after I've glued everything down. I'll trim the top piece to fix, and then I'll start decorating. These are just doing my bases. And here's another piece that I decided I was going to get a little challenging with myself, and I'll cut off probably pieces this way, or maybe not, but that's how I decided those I wanted to be put together. And then the next thing I do is start making little piles. Here's an example of, oh, first let me show you some examples of ones that I've already glued together so you can see what they look like. Here it is. Some of these, and they can, when I decide to play with them, I can play with them any way I want to, but there's a heavy piece of crochet with a piece of crochet, and if I don't like it like that, I can turn it like that, I can turn it like that and work on it like that, or I can do it like that, and I can trim that off if I wanted to. I'd probably leave that hanging down like that. That's probably what I'll do. I'll trim this little section off right here, and that'll be that one. Here's another one. That's probably how I'll work on that one. Probably. Yep, I like it like that best. This could be made into a bottom pocket. Here's another one. And I had a, you know, that collar was quite large. And so I have a lot of these, and I wanted to use them up, and I had been thinking for a long time how I could use them in my collages, and I just couldn't come up with any way, and I decided, okay, I'm just gonna take them for what they are and build out from there. This one, I like it this way. It could be on the side of a page. I could turn it this way and work on it this way. I could work on it this way. You know, I want to give myself options. Here's a pocket that's going to go together, and once I start decorating, I'll trim up to make them even if I want to, and if not, and that's just two pieces glued together. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces glued together. This right here is one piece, and this right here is a piece. And then these three are all separate. And this will be a large pocket. Or I could keep working on it and make it a journal cover if I wanted to. So this gives me a place to start. This is 2 strips that have been glued together to make a pocket. And like that one that way, I've already decided. This is 3 strips. This is 3 strips. Part of that tablecloth, a heavy white crocheted, and then this small doily piece. 3 strips cut together. And here's another one. And it could be that way, or that way, or that way, or probably that way, because that's the way I like it. Okay, so I just start off and give myself some bases, and then I start playing around with the decorations. Here's one that had the collar, the piece of that collar. Here is the pearl button that was on the collar, and these things were, you didn't attach it to the dress. It just went around your neck collar, and then it had a little buttonhole that on this side of the collar that connected over the pearl button, and that's how it laid on your dress. And you fashionistas will have to tell me what time period those attachable collars were popular. I mean, I know they went way back to the 1400s, but or earlier, but this is machine made. It's not handmade, so it's got to be in the 19th or 20th century. So, okay, I've got the 2 pieces glued together, and then I went through the things that I had in my little pieces stash, and I found my focal point that I wanted. Then I decided I wanted to bring more of this same color in, and then I said, maybe that should go down, and this should go right there, like that, to bring the eye up. I'm working in kind of a zigzaggy thing. And then this is going to go in like that. And this is going to go right there by my button. The little round is going to go up against the button. And then I'll glue all this down, and then I'll say, well, what else does it need? Well, I think it needs something right there to cover up that intersection, or maybe something right here. And then it needs something right there to finish it off. Okay, I am not going to glue it down while you're watching, but I can tell you some tips. You can take a photograph with your phone once you got it all laid out like this. And I've laid this one out like this, and it probably spent 30 minutes playing with it all the different ways, and until I got it this way. So I'll remember, when I go to glue it, I'll remember how I did it. But take a picture with your phone if you lose track of, things like that. If you're doing a whole bunch of them, and mass making them, my guess is to take a picture with your phone, how you like it, so you can refer to it. I can't take a picture with my phone because I'm using my phone to film this video, so I'm going to have to remember, but that's a good hint. And also remember that you want to glue down the furthest back pieces first. So when I take all this stuff off, take all the little pieces off, you're going to glue down your main pieces. Usually it's your first 3 pieces. Thinking triangles, your first 3 pieces that you put down, you're going to glue down in the order of back to front. So this will be the one in the very back that I'll glue down first. Then I'll glue down the butterfly one, and then I'll glue down the rose. Then I'll come in here and glue down my next largest piece, which will be this one. Okay? And then I will come in and do my little finishing touches. Okay, and always remember, and usually you're working from your largest pieces to your smallest pieces. Let's see if I can show you another one. Here's another one. This one is 3 pieces of lace and crochet. I've got a large crochet piece that was good size for a pocket. Then I put down this lace to go across the top. And then I decided I wanted some more texture, so I put down a lighter weight lace to go down as a backing. So on this one, I haven't played with it as much, so I'm going to have to try to remember. My 2 largest pieces like this will go down first. Then my focal point will go down there, sort of close to the middle, but a little bit over to the side, where it's not, this piece and this piece aren't lined up directly in the middle. It would be noticeable if you did. And so those are the 3 main pieces that I'll glue down first, and then I will come in here and I will glue down my word. And by the way, I have a whole bunch of these in different colors that I keep made up all the time, and I'm so glad that I do this every time that I make a little collage like this. I'm so glad I have these made up and have them on hand. They're just scrap pieces of paper and one of those little Tim Holtz sticker word sayings, words and phrases, Tim Holtz words and phrases, and it's glued down to a piece of paper just a little bit larger, and then that piece of paper is glued down to a little bit larger piece of paper, and everything is inked. And anyway, I have bags of these in all different colors, so I can go through there and find just the right one. I had originally got one that was mostly beige and brown, and it was too harsh looking, and I wanted something that would soften it up a little bit. These are the 2 other pieces, and this one, as I recall now, that was too plain, and I decided that I wanted that right there. It needed to bring the green up here. Doesn't that look better? And this piece right here, I believe, will go right there. So right there where that corner intersection is, probably like that, something like that. Okay, so the first piece I glue down is going to be the biggest pieces, that one and that one. Then I'll glue this one down, then this one, and then these 2 last will be last. Okay, and don't worry if you glue something down out of order. Just switch gears and think of some other way. Oh, I'm so sorry. I felt it coming. Sorry about that. Here's another one that I have not yet figured out exactly what I'm using. On these that I showed you, I have already inked all the edges with that real light inking of the, what do they call it? Frayed burlap. You know, I like it so much better than, I know a lot of people use that vintage photo, but the vintage photo was just too dark. And this, I wanted it more delicate. This one, I had played with the background. Oops, my phone died. Right in the middle of filming, it just died on me, wouldn't you know it? So let me finish up showing you what I was doing. Not only did my phone die, and after several hours later, I figured out how to get it turned back on again. But that situation with the claims adjuster finalized itself. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to talk to that guy again. Hooray, it's done. So it is a much better day already. I didn't have to replace my phone, and that claims adjuster is out of my life now. Okay, when I left off, I was showing you this one, how I pieced it together, and I'm going to show you this one, how I thought to put it together, and I'm going to show you this one last one. Before I get back to that, I wanted to show you that I'm doing this with Fabri-Tac glue. Anytime I'm working with textiles or fabrics, I use this Fabri-Tac glue. It's by Beacon, and I highly recommend it. I've tried other fabric glues, and they took too long to dry, or just never did dry. They just didn't adhere as well as this Beacon Fabri-Tac. So I don't get any, this is not an advertisement. I don't get paid for saying that. I'm just saying that in my experience, and it may have to do with where I live, the humidity levels and whatever, but this is what works best for me. So when I left off, I was showing you this one, and I have not inked or rounded the corners or done anything with all these little pieces. In fact, I've not even decided for sure if I'm going to use all these little pieces, but I had decided I was going to put another layer of lace down there, and I don't, my scissors handy. I don't leave those little sharp corners. I tip off, and I'm doing this off camera here so I can do it over my trash can. Those little pieces don't get everywhere, but I tip off the tips so it's rounded, and then I'll ink each little individual piece. But see if that looks better with those tips taken off. And then I probably have this one like that. Oops, nope, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the big one. I want this to stick out from the edge just a little bit. This will end up going at the top or the bottom of a page, probably. And see, I'm using the same format as I did the one before, where I've got a tall piece through the center and a square piece and then a rectangular piece here. So that's my three main pieces. And then I will, once I've got that all glued down, I'll take some little pieces like this one and figure out how I want to finish it off. And it could be something like that to finish it off. And then I will glue these three main pieces down, and then I'll finish off, and I'll probably use a little bling, a little flat back pearl or something to go in the center of the flower. But I will ink the three main pieces before I glue them down, and then I'll figure out what little final things. This one I haven't played with at all. I've just gathered some things together, and I'm going to show you the different things together that I gathered together. And I don't know if I'll use them all, but I've got a little bit of red here, and in this one I've got some tags, and they're all different sizes and shapes. And what I'm going to do is make a corner pocket with this one. And oh, this is a flower that cut out from a gardening magazine, a rose growing magazine. And I did it just like the words and phrases. I framed it with a backing of just a slightly larger color paper, and then I used book page and made it a slightly larger backing on that to make it like a framed piece of art that you hang on the wall. And this one, I'll probably put some lace down this edge right here, but I don't know until I move things around a little bit. But I don't have to do it right this second. I can save my I can work from my largest pieces, which are these three, are my largest pieces, and that right there brings the green throughout, and then you've got a touch of red. And then I will take something else, probably not this one, probably something like this, and put it on top of it, and I'll round those corners on that piece. I don't like sharp edges sticking out, but or I could take that and move it down here like that, but still on top of it. And notice I'm overlapping. I do occasionally have something that's not all grouped together in a grouping, but mostly I overlap. I don't know if I'll use that, but if I did it this way, that would be a good way to do it, like that. And then I would add, I probably wouldn't use these three pieces, I would probably add some lace along the edge of that pocket right there behind it to soften it up. Okay, for those of you who are doing Junk Journal July, I normally join in on Junk Journal July, but this year I have not got myself together to do it, but know that I am watching every single day and getting so many great ideas, and I am joining in the best way I can right now with the time that I have, but I am seeing every single thing that you're doing and watching all the videos, and I am loving it. Thank you so much for watching this video and joining me on my creative projects. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one of you because there's so many great journal makers and creative artists out there that I know that, I appreciate your time that you took to watch this one. Please leave a thumbs up or a like so I'll know that you've been here. I love hearing from you, so leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and if you got any good ideas about this from this video, I appreciate you letting me know. And be sure and subscribe. I'm not making as many videos as I used to, but you can hit the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I do. Come see me on Instagram at Becky's Journals. I'm on YouTube here at Becky's Journals, and I'm posting close-up pictures of these things that I'm making every single day on Instagram and on Facebook. And I hope to see you again real soon. Bye-bye.